Namaste, hello, and Jai Hind. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Suranshu, and I have already made a video on constitutional development of Brazil. This video is the second part, that is the political economy of Brazil, a detailed exploration. Again, this video will be the best when used as the reference. So this video is not only targeted to undergrad students but postgrad students as well. So let us begin with the introduction. Brazil, the largest country in South America and the fifth largest globally, we all know, is a fascinating case study in the relationship between politics and economics. Its journey from a resource dependent colonial economy to a global player in agriculture, industry, and energy is a story of resilience and contradictions. Today, we will dive deep into Brazil's political economy, analyzing its resource wealth, political influence, industrial development, economic phases, and the significant challenges it faces. This exploration will help us understand how politics, economy, and society interact in shaping the development trajectory of the nation. To begin with, I have highlighted 6 points for the students to help them analyze the analysis in a easier manner. So 6 points as follows. First is the Brazil's resource wealth. Second is the political influence on the economy. Third, the industrial development. Fourth, economic phases. Fifth, problems and their causes. And lastly, addressing the challenges, some policy recommendations from my side. So let's start with the first point, that is the Brazil's resource wealth. Brazil's natural resource endowment has been central to its economic growth and international influence. If you see, the nation is often described as a resource power, a superpower with vast reserves of land, minerals, and biodiversity. Here I'll take three main resources. First would be the agriculture. Brazil is a global agricultural powerhouse, often referred to as the breadbasket of the world. It is the largest producer and exporter of soybeans, sugarcane, coffee, and orange juice. The Cerrado region, with its fertile soils, has been transformed into a hub of mechanized agriculture. Large agribusinesses firms dominate production, but smallholder farmers also contribute significantly. However, the expansion of agriculture has come at the expense of forest, raising concerns about deforestation and climate change. Next would be the minerals and energy. Brazil holds some of the world's largest deposits of iron ore, bauxite, and gold. Vale is a mining giant, plays a pivotal role in extracting and in exporting these resources. Brazil is also energy rich with substantial oil reserves in its pre-salt basins and leadership in renewable energy through hydropower and biofuels. Hydropower accounts for over 60% of its electricity generation, while ethanol from sugarcane has positioned Brazil as a pioneer of bioenergy. Next would be the forest and biodiversity. The Amazon rainforest, spanning 60% of Brazil's territory, is a critical ecological and economic asset. It provides timber, medicinal plants, and other resources, but its role as a carbon sink is of global importance. However, deforestation for logging, cattle ranching, and soy farming has drawn international criticism and highlighted the need for sustainable resource management. While resource health wealth has been an asset, it has also contributed to the resource curse, where dependence on commodities exposes Brazil to volatile global markets. Second would be the political influence and the economy. The Brazil's political landscape has played a critical role in shaping its economic policies and outcomes. Political institutions, governance models, and elite control have historically influenced economic decision making. Now, colonial legacy and power structures. So, under Portuguese rule, Brazil's economy was structured around extractive industries such as sugarcane plantations and gold mining. Political power was concentrated among colonial elites who controlled land and labor. This legacy of unequal power distribution persists today, influencing Brazil's policy making and economic stratification. Now, if we go to modern political economy, here again I brought up 3 points. First would be the state-led development, that is from 1930 to 1980. The presidency of Getúlio Vargas marked a shift towards state intervention in the economy. Vargas' policies prioritized industrialization, labor protections, and infrastructure development. State-owned enterprises like the Petrobras became symbols of national pride and economic sovereignty. Next comes the military dictatorship, that is from 1964 to 1985. The military regime focused on economic modernization through large infrastructure projects such as highways and dams. However, this came at the cost of civil liberties and social equity. The period also saw Brazil accumulate significant external debt. Now, democratic transition and challenges, that is, since returning to democracy, Brazil has seen a mix of populist and neoliberal policies. We have all seen corruption scandals such as Operation Wash have exposed deep-seated government issues, undermining public trust and investor confidence. Political instability such as the impeachment of Dilma Rousseff and the rise of polarizing figures like Jair Bolsonaro continues to shape Brazil's economic development. Third is the industrial development. Brazil's industrialization journey has been marked by a series of transformations, from state-led growth to neoliberal restructuring and more recently challenges in sustaining competitiveness. So, if we talk about industrial phases, let us begin with first the early industrialization, that is from 1930 to 1950. The shift from an agrarian economy began with import substitution industrialization, the ISI, a strategy aimed at reducing dependency on imports. Brazil established textile mills, steel plants, and automotive production, creating a nascent industrial base. This period saw the rise of urban centers like Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro as industrial hubs. Now, heavy industries and infrastructure, that is from 1950 to 1980. The state played a dominant role in fostering capital intensive industries such as chemicals, transportations, and energy. Iconic projects like the Itaipu Dam and the development of Embraer, a leading aerospace company, demonstrated Brazil's ambitions to compete globally. However, inefficiency and protectionist policies limited the effectiveness of ISI. So, when the next would be the privatization and deregulation during the neoliberal reforms of the 1990s, many state-owned enterprises were privatized, leading to greater efficiency in some sectors, but also raising concerns about foreign control and unemployment. The shift aimed to open Brazil's economy, but global markets were left critical sectors like infrastructure underdeveloped. Lastly, would be the technology and services, that is from 2000s and present. Today, services dominate Brazil's GDP, contributing 70%. Despite its success in sectors like aerospace and agriculture, uh, Brazil struggles to compete in high-tech industries due to low investment in research and development. Industrial policy has often criticized for lacking coherence with frequent shifts between protectionism and liberalization, undermining long-term planning. Fourth point would be the economic phases. First would be the so here I am starting from colonial economy till present. The colonial economy, that is 1500 to 1822. Brazil's economy revolved around resource extraction with sugar and gold as a key export. This created a wealth gap between colonial elites and the enslaved workforce, saying the foundation for persistent inequality. Second would be the coffee economy and the export-led growth, that is from 1822 to 1930. After gaining independence, Brazil's economic transitional to coffee as a dominant export commodity earned it the title of the coffee capital of the world. Coffee plantations concentrated in Sao Paulo, Minas Gerais, and Rio de Janeiro became the backbone of Brazil's economy. However, this is monoculture economy was vulnerable to global price fluctuations as seen in the Great Depression in the 1930s, which severely impacted Brazil's export earnings. The reliance on agricultural exports also, uh, delayed industrialization, reinforcing Brazil's dependency on again the foreign markets. Now, the state-led development, that is from 1930 to 1980, the global economic crisis of the 1930s marked the beginning of the industrialization in Brazil under Getúlio Vargas. The government implemented export substitution industrializations, the ISI, to reduce reliance on foreign goods. Key industries like steel and energy were nationalized and heavily subsidized. The state also invested in infrastructure, fostering economic growth. This period, however, entrenched inefficiency due to protectionist policies and the dominance of a few state enterprises. The 1970s saw a Brazilian miracle, a period of rapid GDP growth averaging 10% per year, driven by investments in heavy industries and infrastructure. However, this growth was financed through external debt, leading to a severe debt crisis in the 1980s. Fourth would be the debt crisis and the neoliberal adjustment, that was from 1980s to 2000. The 1980s, known as the lost decade, were marked by a stagnant growth, hyperinflation, and rising debt. Inflation rates exceeded 2000% annually, eroding purchasing power and destabilizing the economy. Under the Fernando Henrique Cardoso's presidency, Brazil adopted neoliberal reforms, including the Plano Real, which successfully stabilized inflation by introducing a new currency pegged to the US dollar. Privatization and deregulation followed, attracting foreign investments and also exacerbating social inequalities. Fifth would be the commodity boom and the social inclusion, that is 2000s to 2014. The early 21st century marked a period of economic growth driven by a high global demand for commodities. Like the silver, Brazil capitalized its resource wealth, becoming a leader of exporter of soybeans, iron ore, and crude oil. Social programs like Bolsa Familia lifted millions out of poverty, reducing Brazil's poverty rate by nearly half. However, the economy became increasingly dependent on volatile commodity prices, and public spending growth led to fiscal imbalances. Now, recession and stagnation, that is 2014 to present. A sharp decline in commodity prices in 2014 exposed Brazil's structural vulnerabilities. Political crisis, including the impeachment of Dilma Rousseff and corruption scandals like Operation Car Wash, further destabilized the economy. The COVID-19 pandemic deepened Brazil's recession, leading to negative GDP growth and rising unemployment. Recovery has been slow, constrained by physical austerity and weak investor confidence. Now, fifth point would be the problems and the causes. See, there were many problems. First would be the economic inequality. See, understand, Brazil remains one of the most unequal societies globally, with a Gini coefficient of 53.9. That is the World Bank 2022 data. Now, what is the cause? Historical land concentration during the colonial era, the first. Second would be the urban-rural disparities, with rural areas suffering from inadequate infrastructure and public services. Third would be the racial inequality, where Afro-Brazilian communities face higher poverty and unemployment rates compared to white Brazilians. Next would be the over reliance on commodities. See, Brazil's dependence on agricultural and mineral exports exposes it to the volatility of global commodity markets. Now, the causes would be the delayed industrialization during the colonial and early post-independence period. B would be lack of diversification into value-added manufacturing or high-tech sector. C would be overemphasis on extractive industries with limited reinvestment in innovation. Now, infrastructure deficit. See, Brazil's infrastructure ranks poorly compared to other emerging economies, affecting competitiveness and economic productivity. Now, what are the causes? First would be the chronic underinvestment in transportation, ports, and energy sector. Second would be corruption and inefficiency in public procurement processes. And third, would be political instability leading to inconsistent infrastructure policies. Corruption and weak governance. Widespread corruption scandals have eroded public trust in institutions and discouraged foreign investment. This caused weak judicial systems that allowed impunity for political and business elites. B. A deeply entrenched culture of patronage and clientelism in politics. And C would be inefficient regulatory frameworks that increase opportunities for graft. And next would be the environmental challenges. See, rapid deforestation, particularly in the Amazon rainforest, has attracted global criticism and jeopardized Brazil's environmental commitments, which caused a expansion of agriculture, particularly say soy and cattle ranching into forested areas. B. Lack of enforcement of environmental laws under political pressure from agribusiness lobbies. C. Insufficient investment in sustainable farming practices and renewable energy. Lastly, the sixth point would be the addressing the challenges. Here, some policy recommendations from my side. Diversification of the economy. Understand, promote sectors like technology, pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing through tax incentives and subsidies. B. Strengthen small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) to reduce dependence on large agribusinesses and mining firms. B. Next would be reducing inequality. A. Expanding access to quality education and healthcare, particularly in undeserved, underserved rural and agro-Brazilian communities. B would be implement progressive taxation policies to redistribute wealth more equitably. C would be investing in infrastructure. See, develop transportation networks, including railways and ports, to improve export efficiency. Second point would be partner with private investors under transparent public-private partnership, the PPPs models. Fourth would be strengthening governance. Here, enforce strict anti-corruption laws and empower independent judiciary bodies. Improve regulatory frameworks to streamline business operations and reduce bureaucratic inefficiencies. Fifth would be sustainable development. Balance economic growth with environmental conservation by promoting renewable energy and green technologies. Strengthen enforcement against illegal deforestation and incentivize sustainable agricultural practices. Now, the conclusion, I would say Brazil's political economy reflects a nation of immense potential and deep rooted challenges. Its journey from a resource driven colonial economy to an emerging global power offers valuable lessons for on the interplay between politics, economics, and society. Addressing its structural problems requires bold policies that balance growth with equity, sustainability, and transparency. As the world grapples with inequality, environmental concerns, and economic uncertainty, Brazil's experience provides critical insights to building a resilient and inclusive economy. Let us continue to study and learn from its successes and challenges uh, or struggles to inform better policy making in our interconnected world. So with this, I end my today's topic. My special thanks to Dr. Annapurna and Associate Professor Dr. Dilip Bhattacharya, without whom I wouldn't be able to complete this topic. See you in the next video. Thank you.